Good morning, everybody. Hello. Happy JUKI Day. Yay. Cheers. Oh, already a bit of an adventure this morning. So I just had the forklift delivered an hour early. So lucky I got here for the stream. I wasn't going to... No, I was always planning on streaming today, but I only found out Monday that the machine was coming today. So I didn't want to miss out on streaming this week because I've already missed out on the last 3 weeks, and I didn't want to make it 4 weeks of no streaming because I never would have got back to streaming. And so yeah, and then I got told yesterday that the forklift was coming between 7 and 7:30, so I thought I'd be doing a short stream today. And then got here at 5:45 this morning because I still had some more stuff to do downstairs. And like 5 minutes later, beep, beep, beep. It took him 40 minutes to get the forklift out the front. But anyway, it's there. Lots of people in chat already. I just need to get some more caffeine going. Excuse me. I've still got pretty bad cough and chest from COVID, so if I break out coughing, I apologise. I've got a bit of a croaky voice, as you might hear as well. So hopefully I will... So anyway, lots of weird stuff happening. I can't connect to my logo. I had to install a new version of Python on my computer for stuff, and have completely broken the ability to run any of my chat stuff for the logo and everything else. So Colin has also got COVID. Is it your first or second time? I had it second time, and then I gave it to Flynn, and Flynn gave it to Yuz. So we've had a sick house the last 2.5 weeks. Sorry, it'll settle down. Hopefully it'll settle down. Yep, it's going around big time at the moment, apparently. So many people I know, including Craig from Suba, who's Super Engineering is the company I bought the JUKI from. Just a quick thing, he went to see a client in Adelaide the other day, and or a week ago now, and he tested positive while I was over there, and he got stuck in a hotel room for a week. Couldn't go anywhere, couldn't do anything. He's from Sydney, and he got stuck in yeah, whatever. So it's going around big time. Hey Michael. So I updated my Python because I was doing some stuff with Blender and KiCad, and I couldn't get things working properly, and I was on a very old version of Python on this machine, and so I just went all the way to 3.11, and then lots of stuff doesn't work anymore. So anyway, but the stuff I want to do with Blender does work, so that's good. Okay, I'm going to say hi to folks in the chat. Yeah, hopefully, as I said, my voice won't give it out. Okay, apologise. I was going to put a lapel mic on this morning, but I didn't, and I'm glad I didn't, because me coughing to that would be terrible. Okay, so good morning, Jerry. Good morning, Matt Radness. Madness. Oh my god, I'm out of practice with my streaming. Christian is here. Yay! stayed awake. Woohoo! Kevin, hello. Andy Mouse, hello. Antonio, you got your coffee and breakfast. Yay. Johnny, hello Johnny. Andre's here. Hi. Dave Harris. Peter, good morning Peter. You're awake early. Dutch Taurus. Dave Hines, hello Dave. Popcorn at the ready. Well, okay. Emery, hello. Beata, good morning. Henrik, hello. Christopher, hi. Andrew Grow, hello. Ian, hello Ian. Scott Johnson, how are you doing? Reed, hello mate. Graham, hi. There's a lot of machine in this chat. Oh, sorry, a lot of mechanics in this chat. I mean, look at all the spam. Oh, sorry, I can't even read. That was funny. Anyway, Crazy Roops, hello Crazy Roops. Alan, hello. Collinator, hi. John Meeking, hello John. Bruce is here, I'm not skiing. Hey Mike. Still scrolling. Mark, hello Mark. Hello Emma. Sorry, there's no no Python connection at all. I didn't even know it was broken until this morning, because I haven't streamed for the last 3 weeks. So yeah. Who can't stop smiling? I'm not smiling. It's not me. Woohoo! Hey, Life and Cycling. Mr. Explore, hello. And yeah, Michael, good morning. Again, up early. Cable Tie, hello. Also up early. Embedded Hobbyist, hi. Mortal Drumming, hello. Peru. Jeremy, hello. Photochromax, hi. Alexander. Have I got everyone? I think I've got... I'm just going backwards now. No. Habba Bubba, hello. And X Micron, hi. Okay, I think I've got everyone for the moment. So, sorry to burst everyone's bubble, but just to be clear, this is not a stream of me getting the JUKI. The JUKI's coming today. I don't know what time it's coming yet. Hey, Fognology. Yeah, on the mend. Yaz has been suffering some really severe headaches and migraines. So, like, she's been doing way worse than me, unfortunately. But, you know, life goes on. Got to get back into the swing of things. So, you're not going to get to see the JUKI come today. Like, I don't know what time it's coming, and I can't stream through it. Like, there's a lot of work to do. Hey, IT Nerd and Wagon Loads, how you doing? So, it is a happy JUKI day. But, yeah. Now, I don't know what I'm going to be able to film today. I already did some little bits of filming yesterday as I started pulling the line apart, getting the neodymium out. The neodymium has been sold. It's going up north. It's so the neodymium 8 with all the feeders and everything else. And thankfully, I managed to fix almost all of the problems with the neodymium before all this transition happened. It still does some really quirky things, but the company it's going to don't do the same type of stuff that I do. They don't do 0402 components. They don't do, you know, hundreds or thousands of boards. They've got they're in an industry where they do a small run, massively high margin products, which is the complete opposite to me. Right? So they've already got a neodymium 7, and they're now putting in the 8 on the line as well with it. So they'll be like brother and sister next to each other. And they're all Ian's out of touch. Yeah. So anyway, they're quite happy with whatever the state the machine is in. They've already like rebuilt half of the neodymium 7 anyway. They don't rely on neodymium. They just do a lot of expertise in the company, and so yeah, they'll whatever issues they come up with with my 8, they'll deal with. They'll solve them. And I think they really bought it just for all the feeders. Excuse me. Sorry. For those just chiming in, sick with COVID. Like, COVID's over, but I've still got that whole chest thing going. So yes, I have replaced my Neoden with a JUKI. I got the JUKI RS1R, which, sorry, I'm feeling very out of sorts. Okay, for those that don't know what the JUKI RS1R is, let me see if I can just clear up my desktop a bit. Okay, let's see if my desktop works today. No. Okay, it does on that one, but not on that one. Wow. Well, just bear with me a second. Okay, cool. Now we've got it back. Hey, Braden. Did you keep the Neoden reflow oven? Yeah, I've still got my Neoden reflow oven, the new one, the IN12C, and I've still got the IN6 as a backup oven. So I bought a JUKI. Now, to be clear, this is either the smartest thing I've ever done or the worst decision I've ever made. I don't know. Like, I'll be honest. It's 50-50. We'll know in 6 months, 12 months, I guess. But here's the thing. So it's not a JUKI MF. I don't know what that MF753 whatever is. I don't even know what that is. So for me, the Neoden was at the end of its life in terms of its capabilities and its speed and its reliability. It was just anyway. I've discussed it many times. Whatever. It wasn't the experience I wanted manufacturing, and there is nothing. There's nothing above the Neoden in terms of in the Chinese space. And so the next step up from the Neoden was to go for I don't even know what to call it, but to go for a mainstream commercial brand, right? It was a whatever. Did I sell my street? What? Did I sold my street? Hey, Pat. What size is the... Dude, this is huge. This is 2.2 ton. No, 1.9 ton, 1.7 ton. I don't know, 2.2 ton in the crate. This is bigger than my Neoden. Your pick and place street. I don't know what the street means. Sorry. Yeah. Please explain. I'm a bit slow this morning. So this is a serious machine. So I was looking at either this or the Hanwha. These were the two. Well, size of a car. No, it's not the size of a car. It's a big machine. Like look it up. Go to the internet. Look it up. So the next step up from a Chinese machine is you buy a Samsung or a Yamaha or a Fuji or a JUKI or a Panasonic, you know what I mean? Or like you buy a named brand commercial machine, and the commercial machines are not machines they're not in the same realm as the Chinese machines. Like they're they're just totally different. Everything about them is totally different. What Johnny said. What did Johnny say? Pick and place line. Did I sell? Oh, yeah. Is that what you meant by a line or a street? I don't know about the size of your people carrier, Dave, but it probably weighs as much of it. No, so my line is here. I've still got my line, but I've got the pick and place machines come out of the line, and I've got a new machine coming in, which the line has to be kind of pushed apart because this is a bigger machine. So it does 47,000 components per hour. Realistic run on it is like 30,000 components per hour. It goes all the way to 0201 metric. So that's 01005 size components. So I'm currently using 0402, which is 1005 in metric, right? 1 millimeter by half a millimeter. The whole metric inches thing for component sizes is just killing me. Anyway, so yeah, I got it with the Vision. I wasn't going to get it with the Vision because there's pretty much the only thing the Vision is used for on this is for stuff like BGAs. But I now have a project coming up where I have to use BGAs, so I did get it with the Vision as well. This goes to the... Yeah, this goes all the way down to, I mean, is there anything below an 01005? I don't know. I've got some 01005 components here that I ordered by accident, and oh my god, they are smaller than the tip of my tweezers. So I don't even know how I pick them up with tweezers. If Sam was American, he would have a small pickup that would allow transport of the JUKI. I don't know how I'd get it on and off the pickup though. Hey Ray. Size of a car and 4 times the price. Yeah, this is not a cheap machine. But as I said, there was no. The next step up was a Yamaha, Samsung, a Hanwha, which is a Samsung. It's a Korean version of that, or JUKI, whatever else. I almost bought a Hanwha, which is what Peter Esden from One Bit Squared just bought. We were both talking about it at the same time. But the guys at Suba Engineering, big shout out to them, great guys. They're local, like they're the JUKI distributor in Australia. Their head office is in Sydney, but they've got an office here in Melbourne, just up the road. They came to me, Heinz, who owns the company, said, I bet you I can do you a deal on a JUKI that you'll buy that instead of buying the Hanwha. And I laughed at him. I said, not a chance, because the JUKI is a much more expensive machine than the Hanwha. And he came back with an unbelievable price. And I mean, I've shown this. Pretty sure I showed the RS1R on a stream a year and a half ago, saying if I could ever afford a machine, I'd want a JUKI. I'd want this machine. Well, so I bought it. And yeah, it's going to be a pretty steep learning curve to get up and running with it. What's funny? What'd I do? Hey Simon. Hello Stephen. I thought someone was getting into sewing machines. Yeah, it's actually funny if you search for JUKI just in Google without putting pick and place machine or the model number, it just lists sewing machines for sure. So to pick up those small parts, watch the movie Fantastic Voyage. There's something to pick up. What? Okay. I assume the movie Fantastic Voyage is not about a pick and place machine. So I'm just going back. Did I miss any questions? Why not a Yamaha? Because I didn't want a Yamaha. So ultimately, when you get to this level of pick and place machine, they're all... And by the way, this is not the top of the line pick and place machines. These are the entry level machines in the commercial space. Okay, just to be clear, I mean, you can go out and spend $500,000 on it, just on a pick and place machine, right? Like a high-end Siemens or stuff like that. Like it's these are the entry machines, which is just insane if you consider what they are and what they cost compared to a Chinese machine. So JUKI is more known for its sewing machines, but JUKI has a very like their assembly stuff, their manufacturing stuff is really great stuff. Husqvarna. My mum had a Husqvarna sewing machine. Hello, Nick Stick Design. I was wondering about the financials. Numbers such a machine is a good investment. Well, I don't know. So, as I mentioned before, I don't run financials with my business the way other people might do financials because if I did, I'd shut my business down because, you know, because, yeah, like very high risk, very low reward in a business like this most of the time. The problem I've got is I couldn't go any further with the Neoden, and there is no next step below this. That's just the truth, right? There's I wanted to get out of the Chinese pick and place ecosystem. It doesn't matter what machine you buy, it doesn't matter what vendor you buy it from, and you'll hear good things and bad things from all sorts of people, whatever. But it doesn't matter what you do, what you buy, what you get. They're a lower class machine, and there's just no support. And I've had enough machines now in that space, and it's a repeated thing all the time. And I needed to move out. I needed to solve that. I needed to get out of that space. And unfortunately, this is the, you know, something like I didn't want to buy, and I didn't want to buy a secondhand machine. Just to be clear, hey to Shipu, hello Zubir. I've got friends who've just bought secondhand machines. They're having hit and miss fun and games with them. I didn't want to buy secondhand. I didn't want to. Yeah, this is a brand new. I bought a brand new RS1R straight out of the factory. I need a machine that runs and does what I need. I didn't need a project. So, as I said before, this is either the smartest decision I've ever made or the worst decision I've ever made, and I don't know yet. We'll see. Not the worst decision as in a bad machine, worst decision as in let's see where things go over the next 12 months. You know, we're in the middle of a getting worse financial global crisis at the moment where the cost of living is just going out of control. You know, unstable political global situation. I'm not going to be broke in 2 months. I'm not going to be broke in 2 months, but again, and I can always sell it. My fallback is I can always sell it. So it's coming today, Wagon Loads. Today is the day. I found out on Monday afternoon that it is being delivered today. The forklift just got delivered out the front to get it off the truck. Do they depreciate much? Well, here's what's interesting. I have no idea because you pretty much can't find these secondhand anywhere. There are some obscure places in China that claim that they have some secondhand RS1Rs, but you know how they got them. Like you can't buy these in China, right? They're not a machine. Like if a company in China wanted to use an RS, use a JUKI, they have to buy it from Japan. Like there's no one in China that sells these, not new. And anyone that's got them secondhand, they've got them who knows where from, right? So interestingly, there is no secondhand market for these that you can find. They're the type of machine that people don't. If they've got JUKI on their line, they just buy more machines, right? They don't, you know. It's excuse me. You don't see people replacing their JUKI lines. The same as if they've invested in a Samsung line, you don't see people, you know, swapping out all their Samsung machines for something else. What they will generally do is put a second line in. Hey, Mad Techie. What? When I say Husqvarna, I think chainsaw. What? That seems like... Stephen said that seems like a lot. I don't know what that is referring to. So I'm just going back. Anyway, let's be clear. Sion has big kahunas in business. Hey Chris, how you doing? Components... Oh, right. I don't know about big kahunas in business, but and I'm much more risk averse than I used to be. I used to be a much bigger risk taker than I am now. Kind of happens when you have kids and a family. But again, this was my only path forward. Really, like, you know, as I said, this or a Hanwha or whatever else. So whether if I ever need to sell it, if I ever look, the only reason I'd ever sell it is if I went out of business, which companies go to business all the time. Who knows what's going to happen going forward? But I needed to solve my problem, and this was the only way forward to do it, unfortunately. Hey, Pro Engineer. Hey, Austin. Brand name factory equipment tend to hold their value for many years. Sure. And have a much easier to sell down the line, I guess. You could sell it to upgrade as well, but I wouldn't need to so with a JUKI, the way you upgrade is you put another machine on the line. Right? Yeah. So, hey Rob, the Neoden's been sold. The Neoden, all the feeders have been sold. I've taken some video of that. I'm going to put together a video of this whole thing at some stage after it's all done and in. But I took some video yesterday of the Neoden being decommissioned. But the Neoden and all of the feeders and all of the other bits I have for it, including all the extra cables and solenoids and air filters and all the burnt out boards and everything else, they're all going to its new home. Hey John. Oh, hello, and also so John Kirkland, hello, and Mr. John Oxer, hello. Into the city. No worries, Mr. Oxer, Mr. Superhouse TV. I hope all is well. Thanks for saying hi. Anyone else I haven't said hi to? Did I say hi, Pro Engineer? I hope so. You got a sinus infection? Yeah, I had one the other week, and then I had COVID, so yeah, double whammy. 128 feeders, Pat. 66. No, hang on, 120. 60 at the front, 60 at the back. Yeah, I think 120. Sorry. It should say on here somewhere. It says max 112 times. I don't know what that's about. What's the power and air requirement spec on the new machine? So it's 3-phase. We worked out the power a little while ago. I've got ample here, and air is about the same as what my Neoden was pulling. So I can't tell you the exact numbers. I'm sure it's in the 5,000 page manual somewhere. But it's not. Yeah, that number's weird. 112 times 2. I thought it was 60 front, 60 back. Anyway, well, it depends how it's configured. It's arriving today, Austin. It's coming today. Which is why it's Happy JUKI Day today. So it was ordered a while ago. It's been a pretty crazy adventure from the day I ordered till today. But the super guys have done an amazing job. And so I'm just going to go back to normal me, away from that. So, and also my camera, is my camera slow, jittery? Maybe it's just the my preview, I don't know. Right, so the interesting thing is when you buy at this level, so the guys are coming down, they uncrate it, they take it off the truck themselves, they uncrate it, they take it off the pallet, they put it in line, they connect all the power, the air, they set it all up, they redo my whole entire line to get my line level and straight to match the JUKI. So the whole line will be redone, and then they spend 2 or 3 days training me. So they normally set aside 5 days. So if you think about it, you buy a Chinese pick and place machine, it gets delivered with no manual, no support, no anything. You buy, I guess, a different price range, but when you buy a machine like this, it gets installed for you and you get trained on it. Now, I've already got access to the software. the offline software. I bought myself a little, I don't think it's going to reach. Oh, maybe. Oh, will it maybe fit? Oh, keep going. I bought myself a little Ryzen, here we go. Little Ryzen mini PC. It's going to go in my rack downstairs, but for now it's just up on my desk. So this is running Windows 11. Sorry. Yes, I have a Windows box in my office now. Oh my god, I can't believe I've got a Windows box in my office. And it runs all the offline software, which is called Janets, which is the JUKI advanced networking stuff. And with Janets, I can control the pick and place from up here. I can set up projects, I can do whatever. So I've already started doing that. I've already got 10 of my projects. I've got all the pick and place data loaded in. Well, just Windows in general. But Windows 11, I don't know. Just whatever. Unfortunately, the software is fully Microsoft embedded everything. Now, when you install it, installs like, 1,000 different Microsoft Visual Studio packages and whatever. Well, I can't put Mac OS on there because then the software doesn't run. Excuse me. So I needed it's just a small, cheapy Windows box, but it works fine. So I have been getting used to like kind of the software and setting things up, which is great. And I can communicate back and forward. I don't have to keep running down to the machine. I totally forgot yesterday that I needed to run Ethernet. So I ran a 30-meter cable yesterday, like ran it properly, like from my rack up and under the mezzanine, clipped it all in properly, all the way down and back along the power, the hanging, oh my god, I can't even talk. Whatever, and then I realized it was 1 meter too short. And I was just like kicking myself. Like, so I ended up putting a cornerstone jack on the end of it, and then I can put an extension. So the cable comes down, and then there's a jack, and you can plug another cable in all the way down. So that's how I solved that. But that was annoying, and that took me like 2 hours to do, because I did it properly, right? All nice and neat and whatever. Excuse me, kept it away from all the power cables, and all of the purlins or C-beams or whatever they're called. Hey Marius, underneath the mezzanine where I put it all in, it's all really sharp metal, and I have got like hundreds of little cuts all over my fingers. Because like, I'd get up on the ladder, I'd grab it and, move my hand and slice my fingers and slice, trying to feed the cable through and not scratch the cable and then slice my fingers. Anyway, I got in the shower this morning, put the hot water on, went under the shower, and like I did this massive silent scream because I didn't want to wake my family up. Just all the hot water hitting my fingers. Oh, really hurt. Anyway, don't know why I'm telling you this. But but Ethernet's ready to go. Yeah, just because I can communicate. What? Okay, I'm all over the place. I'm sorry. Justin Joe Phillips, Topaz and Emerald on our line. Been offline since 2019. Cool. I don't know what version of Windows the JUKI runs. There's a full touchscreen on the front and the back, which is nice. Something that was just terrible on the near end, like when there's an error on the front screen and it's something to do with the back feeders, and so you need to go all the way around the back to kind of work out what's going on, and then walk all the way around the front to check and whatever, and then go all the way around the back. And that's fine when it's just one machine, but on my line, I have to walk all the way to one end of the line to go all the way back around because the pick and place is in the middle, right? Just having a screen on the front and the back. Woo, what a novel idea. Anyway, no, it's not running WinCE embedded. No, it's a full-on piece. The PC in the JUKI is like way more powerful than that little box I just got. Been running quite a few x86 Windows stuff in my Parallels VM on my M2 Mac. Right, so the thing is, this needs to be always on. And so I've set up a shared database. So when I'm working on it and I'm doing things, everything goes into the one shared database, and the JUKI can also talk to it and read from that as well. So when I add a new part for any job, let's say I've got a job that, well, good example, I've got, I need to talk to you about my Blizzard. So if I've got a part on the Blizzard that I haven't used before, let's say it's a 4.7 microfarad capacitor, 0402 capacitor, I enter the details for that part once into the system, and then any project and anything can use that part, and I don't have to set it up again. On the Neod end, every time I did that or whatever, it was per project, and if I wanted to then use that part on a different product, I had to go set it up from scratch again on that product and on the next one. And then if I needed to tweak it and make a change, let's say I needed to change the pick position or the recognition light on it or something, I had to remember to go back and change it on every single file that used the part, and if I didn't, it would mispick it, right? So because of that, excuse me, the machine has to be always on and always available. Can't go to sleep, can't do whatever. So I can't run it on my Mac on a VM because I don't have any Mac that is always up and running like that. No, I think the PC in the JUKI doesn't control the machine. It's controls the interface and whatever. Like, they've got dedicated hardware in there that controls time critical stuff. Cable tie, I'm pretty sure. Hey, Nilio. You can break it up into somewhere cloudy. No, it's got to be local, not cloudy. No, it's got to be local. Local network, I believe. I wouldn't want to put it cloudy, but it doesn't matter. So I've got full, I use Tailscale, so I've got full remote access to all the machines from home, from here, whatever, wherever I need to. Are you going to get it depends what time it comes. It's coming today. I'm assuming it's not coming at 7 o'clock in the morning. It's being loaded on a truck this morning. As soon as it gets loaded on the truck, the shipping company is going to call the Suba guys who are in Melbourne waiting. One of them is Melbourne based, one came from Sydney to do it. And then, OpenPNP is not what you want for a JUKI at all. And then, they'll come down and meet the truck here, and then off we go. You'd think for the price you'd get a real-time GPS tracking. Real-time GPS tracking of what? What do I need? What am I tracking? I'm sure there's a lot of hardware inside. I don't even know when I'm going to wake it all up. GPS tracking of the delivery of it. I know it's coming today. Zero tier. What's zero tier? Is that like a Tailscale? Is that a VPN? I don't know. Tailscale is really fast. But I don't know. What do I know? Do you have a tracking code, or the JUKI is real time? I don't have a tracking code. It's not coming by courier. But it's okay. Like, I've been getting updates every day from the super people. Yeah, this is not coming UPS. This is a dedicated truck. Like it came on a container. I'm pretty sure like the container is coming. Like the like it's not been put on the back of a ute. Like this is, you got to remember, it's the machine, which is like 2.2 ton in a massive crate, and then it's like a whole nother crate full of like all the feeders and everything else. Like I bought a full complement, all the feeders I need, plus some more, and yeah, it's going to be big. It's at least a full 20-foot container that's coming, so it's not coming by UPS. Just to let you know. Wait, they use Docker? Who? What? Excuse me. Okay. I'd only heard of Tailscale from a mate of mine who put me onto it, and it's really great. Like, I'm shocked at like if I'm at home and I remote access to my machine at work, and I've got two 5K screens in front of me, I can access both the screens and do whatever I do working on them, and it feels like I'm actually on the machine. Like it's not like using VNC where you got that bit of lag or whatever else. Like it's incredible. Kind of comes with the machine and the support crew. It does. Hey, Alex. They'll use DHL. I don't think so. Your JUKI is 8 stops away. Yeah, and then you watch the truck go all the way in the wrong direction. Hope the crew's packaged well. No, they're driving separately. They're not on the truck. Went from supporting hardware back to the dawn of time to cutting off some, maybe too aggressively. Anyway, so yeah, it's pretty full downstairs. You can't really see much. I've got Blizzard stuff. Yeah, okay, Blizzard. Just 1 second. I do have my Flex camera set up. You can see here. So it's sitting on top of the Neoden, looking out. So you can see the gap where the Neoden was. You can see my network cable hanging down. Doesn't quite make it to the floor. Yeah, it's a windy day today. How much is the fish? What? Who? What? What? But I'm going to have to ask the guys if they're okay me doing any filming today. Because obviously they're coming down, they're unpacking it, installing it, doing whatever they're doing. I'm going to need their permission. Oh, I love when it does that. It'll come back. So they've allocated, I think, 4 or 5 days. They say it'll take 2 days to commission the machine. So 2 days to have it all set up, ready to go for training. I don't know if it will. I've never installed one before, so I don't know. It's a way more complicated machine than anything I've had before. But I think they weren't expecting me to also get the Neoden out and make space for it. So that'll save some time. Yeah, I'm not going to stream it live, but excuse me, with this camera I can actually, like, I'll be capturing it anyway. It's a security camera, so it'll detect movement and it will record everything. So the Blizzard stuff, this is kind of cool. Wait. So for those that saw on Twitter, new bugs in mobilised. Oh, finding bugs sucks. Sorry, just bear with me a second. I am trying to find. So I currently have my second and hopefully final prototype of my Blizzard board, my Blizzard S3. Off at JLC at the moment, although it's been there for 2.5 days and they haven't started making it yet, which is a bit frustrating. But excuse me, this is what it looks like. This is a render out of Blender. Oh my god, a render out of Blender. That's really funny. No, I don't have any way of tracking it. I don't think so. Just sent it as 5,000. What? 5,600 euro order of what? Oh, to JLC. Oh, bang, outside. Wonder who's out there. So this is the final design. My first board, the first prototype, worked great. Shock horror. And I've made a couple of tweaks to it. Can everyone hear that outside? Anyway, I've made a couple of tweaks to it, and I've sent this off, and I've also spoken to the crowd supply folks. Hold on a second. There's some people out the front. I want to see who they are. I'm not going to pause it. Just hold on one sec. Okay. There's just a whole bunch of workmen out the front. Nothing to do with me, but they're all standing right out the front here, unloading their trucks and talking and whatever. So that's okay. Not for me. Yeah, call 911. Someone's stealing the forklift. Anyway, I've spoken to the crowd supply folks, and I've submitted some stuff for a campaign, and I'm going to run a crowd supply campaign. So only my second one, and obviously my first one was a tiny Pico, for my Blizzard S3. And Michael, who might still be in chat or might have fallen asleep already, has been doing some really cool work on the software side. And we have, so for those that remember, I don't know how many streams ago when I was originally talking about, hey, I'd like to make a hybrid FPGA ESP32 board for the purpose of seeing if we can solve the usability and flashing and the workflow, right? Well, we solved it. You had a bad experience with crowd supply, really? What happened? Because I've not had any bad experience with them myself, or know of anyone that's had a bad experience with them. In terms of releasing a product, or in terms of a product that you backed? I'm curious to hear. But like, someone is borrowing my forklift. That's really funny. The green and red, only missing a white in the middle. What? The corner LEDs. There's a green, red, and blue. There's a red one over here. There's a blue one here and a green one there. Now, you got to remember that board is tiny. Like, that looks like a nice big board. That's the size of my tiny S3, but a bit longer. It's basically the size of my Pro S3. Like, it's this big, the whole board. So, looks like there's, you know, I mean, that's really packed in. Anyway, like all these components here, next to the R, they're all 0201 size components. Japan, who wouldn't ship to Canada, said his project wasn't CE, so we didn't need CE, but no luck. Yeah, that won't be him though. That'll be Mauser. So Mauser do all the shipping. Mauser do all the fulfillment because Mauser owns Crowd Supply now. And so if Mauser say, sorry, can't go to that region for whatever, then it can't be sold to that region, unfortunately. And I'm going to have a similar problem with this, right? Like, people in Europe aren't going to be able to back this because it's not going to be CE certified. But anyway, my whole point of doing this as a crowdfunding campaign is to be able to get the community involved with it. And I'm going to make it open source, get the community involved with it. But anyway, as I was saying, Michael solved the whole flashing thing. Took him a little bit of masterwork to get going, and so basically you plug the board in and you can go into the UF2 bootloader mode, like you would normally then copy over CircuitPython or MicroPython or whatever else, and you can just copy your bitstream file on, and it automatically flashes the FPGA and stores it in flash, and every time you boot the board up, it reflashes. So it treats the ESP32 S3 flash as the flash for the FPGA, and it works great, and it's super fast and very intuitive. So you can just sit there and just keep compiling your .bin file like you normally would with the Yosis whatever, and instead of doing a make program to flash it, you just copy the file onto the mass storage device. You can also flash it from your code as well, like, so you don't have to do it just in bootloader mode. So yeah, you can flash the FPGA, like send the bitstream in CircuitPython or Arduino or MicroPython. It's a really cool workflow. It's working really well. So that was one of the main things that we wanted to solve, and we have. So the board works, validated, that part works. Michael's been working on some HDMI or DVI output stuff. Did you tell the workers that you're trying to live stream and track? No, I didn't. I don't know who they are. So, staying out of that one. Just trying to Scrolling back. So Michael got, this is just HDMI stuff or DVI out stuff running on the Blizzard. Oh, it doesn't like the playback. Oh, that could be something else, but yeah, which is already fixed. Anyway, so he stuck a DVI PMod on it, and he's got it outputting stuff, which is cool. Need and sent the boys around. Have I got an auto printer? Oh, a stencil printer? Yeah, I've had a fully auto stencil printer for a while now. I got a G5, a GKG G5. Bought that secondhand. Yep. Yeah, there's quite a few hybrid boards out now, but that's okay. Like I'm never claimed I'm inventing anything from scratch or have reinvented the wheel, whatever. Like it's. But for me, so here's the thing with this board, and this is what I want to be very clear about. Oh, hey Aaron, can it run Doom? It can run Doom. Yes, it can, actually. No joke, it can run Doom. So Sylvain has already, TNT on the 1-bit squared server has actually already, let me show you, there's a lot of noise going on there. So this, wait, let me just, ads. So this is Doom running in a RISC-V, RISC-V soft core on an ICE 40. Maybe. If it's going to let me push play. Wow. And another ad. Yay, YouTube. Anyway, this is Doom running on an ICE 40, the same chip that's on the Blizzard S3. So yes, it can run Doom. So there you go. Wow, that is really laggy. Anyway. Thanks, Volcanology. Your Alloy board was a big help in working all this stuff out, as was the ICE 5 wireless and whatever. The community on Esden's on the 1-bit squared Discord server has been great. Excuse me. Anyway, I can't remember what I was saying, but all right. So the focus on this board is it's a microcontroller board with an FPGA, as opposed to an FPGA board with a microcontroller. And I know it sounds the same, but it's not. So the Blizzard S3 is not trying to be the best FPGA board out there, right? It's not trying to be... Oh, thanks, Michael, for posting the link. It's not trying to be... I can't compete in the FPGA space. There's amazing FPGA boards out there from, from the Icebreaker down to the Icebreaker Bitsy, which is kind of the same but different form factors, to all the other boards that are out there, right? My expertise is on the microcontroller side, but there's a bunch that a microcontroller can't do. Things like DVI out, for instance, and we're not even going to go into the whole RP2040 thing and what Adafruit have done. There's a whole lot of things that an FPGA is useful for. I don't know what they're building. Sorry, I can't do anything about the noise. But okay, I kind of lost my train of thought because I saw something in the thing. So Bruce said it's trying to be an SP32 with an FPGA peripheral. Correct, right? It's like here you get all of the functionality you ever wanted from the ESP32S3 side, and for things that the microcontroller can't do, you've got an FPGA there with one PMOD broken out, plus a whole bunch of other I/O that's broken out. You've got full power control of both the 3.3 and 1.2 volt rails on the FPGA from the ESP32S3. So for instance, if you want to sleep the ESP32 and you don't want to keep the FPGA awake because you want to like conserve battery, you can shut down the FPGA and you can manually bring it back up again whenever you need to. So stuff like that it's got, but it's designed to it's designed to give you, it's like having a microcontroller with a super powerful I/O expander connected to it, right? But it's more than that. So you could effectively put a RISC-V core on there, soft core on the FPGA, and have two full microcontrollers on there, on the board, if that's what you want to do. Like it's a full ICE. And something else that I did, right, it gives you an ESP32 with, well, it's DVI. It's through a HDMI connector, but it's DVI. It could be all sorts of things, whatever you want to do with it. Anything you can do on an FPGA, you can do on this. What you don't have is, you know, lots and lots of PMODs broken out and whatever. Like it's limited on how much can be broken out. Excuse me. But what I did was just something that I added last minute. If I just put that over here, that's the board there. Is I added a footprint on the bottom for a second PSRAM chip and a couple of passives. So I'm not going to populate this in production, I don't think. I don't know, I doubt it. But for those that want to add another 8 megabytes of PSRAM to the FPGA specifically, in quad SPA, you'll be able to solder on an extra PSRAM chip at the bottom. So then you'll have an ESP32S3 with 8 mega flash and 8 mega PSRAM, and you'll have technically you could put flash on here, but you need a very specific package. The footprint's not compatible with the flash I use, for instance. It'll have to be a SOP8 package. But anyway, yes, you could put flash on there, but I don't think, well, you could put flash on there, but it can't be flash that gets used to flash the device, to store bit streams, just to be clear, right? It's not hooked up to the configuration pins, right? So it's designed for PSRAM. But you could put flash for storage, but I don't know why you'd need to. You got the S3 side for storage. Hey Yaz, thanks bub. Happy JUKI Day to you too. So anyway, by putting PSRAM on the pack, we'll be able to do a lot more with the DVI output in terms of color, bit depth, and resolution and stuff like that. Anyway, as you can see, it's a pretty full-on board. It's a 6-layer board. And it's pretty packed. But I could always go down to smaller components if I need to. But anyway, this is... So from the FPGA, you've got a PMOD, which has got 8. And then you've got 9, 10... Oh, hang on. Right, here we go. Okay. So you've got 3.3 from the ICE and ground. And then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, plus the 8. So 19 I/O in total from the FPGA. One of them's in PMOD format. And then you've also got, once it's not in configuration mode, you've got 6 I/O that are connected between the FPGA and the ESP32S3. So that means you could, for instance, fire up an SPI peripheral in the ICE40, and you could talk SPI between the two chips, or you could fire up a UART peripheral, which I believe Michael's already got working, and you could talk UART between the two for communication, or you could do your own protocol or whatever. But I've broken out as many I/O as I can without having to go down to a smaller via size, which would have, I mean, the boards are already horrifically expensive because there's 6 layers, but going down a size of via would almost double the price of the boards. But anyway, that's quite a bit of I/O broken out for the FPGA. Again, it's not designed to be a full-featured FPGA board. It's designed to be a full-featured microcontroller board with a very nicely exposed FPGA. You know, like there are PMOD add-ons out there that require 2 PMOD interfaces, right? There's just no physical way I can do that on this board. Like 2 PMOD interfaces, that's how they have to be laid out, right? That's the spacing and everything else for that. Like that is almost the entire size of my board. Just can't do it, right? So, you know, these are a 0.2, 0.45 or 0.4. So, excuse me, I'd have to go down to a smaller drill, like 0.15 and a smaller annular, and that just, price goes insane through the roof. Yeah. So I'm pretty excited by the board. Oh, actually, I didn't resize this. 1 second. I should resize that. I've had to make the board a fraction longer. So it's now 56 and a half. Well, PMOD's nice because there's a whole bunch of adapters. So for instance, the Michael's using a single PMOD HDMI adapter to do his HDMI out, right? There are a whole bunch of different types of PMODs you can get. I'll put them away. That are single PMOD for doing things like audio, hey Richard, or you know, you can get PMODs with screens on them and stuff. Not that you can't do those things on the microcontroller side, right? But there are some things you can't do on the microcontroller side. Yeah, I had to make the board a little bit longer, but in doing that, because I also stuck an external crystal on. So there's now a dedicated 12 megahertz crystal on the FPGA. And the point of choosing the 12 megahertz was to make it compatible with all the icebreaker stuff. So literally you can grab the icebreaker code or gateware, whatever examples, and you know, just tell it to be the PCH file for the Blizzard, and then it should just work. But sourcing 12 megahertz crystals at this, oscillator, not crystal, an oscillator is quite hard. So, yeah, I shouldn't say crystal, it's an oscillator. So, yeah, that's going to be tricky. Very hard to come by at the moment. And in doing that as well, I also got a better button on it. So I was using this little sideways button, but it's not as nice to use. So now, as you can see, all the 3 buttons are the same top buttons. You could make a dual PMOD adapter board using the other. You could, absolutely. Well, yeah, you could do. There isn't enough I/O to do a 2 PMODs to give you 3. Can you give it a? I was going to do that. The problem with that is if you want your if you want to sleep the S3 side, right, but you want to keep the FPGA awake. So that's an interesting use case, right? Like if you deep sleep the ESP32, other than the whole ULP thing or whatever, you really can't do anything in terms of capturing stuff or doing things when the S3 is asleep. But you could leave the FPGA awake and it could be doing things. It could be capturing, or it could be outputting, it could be doing whatever. But if the S3 is asleep, you lose the PWM, whatever the clock that you decide to output from the S3 disappears. And then your FPGA code doesn't work properly, right? So it was easier just to cave and stick a dedicated oscillator on there. So yeah, a crystal is normally got a positive and a negative pin, right? And it uses 2 load caps to do its cycling, right, for the crystal, where an oscillator doesn't need that. It got power, and it in itself does its own oscillation, and it just needs one output. I don't think it's a bummer, Collinator. Like, I'd say, why is it a bummer? Having a dedicated crystal there instead of requiring the S3 to do it. And then you've got other problems if you want the S3 to do it. Like, okay, you've got a PWM going at 40 megahertz, and then what happens when your code stalls, or your whatever you're doing in the watchdog kicks in, or you know what I mean? You're doing lots of heavy SPI stuff, and all of a sudden you don't have a stable signal. Then your FPGA screwed. So I don't think it's a bummer. It was a conscious decision to go this way. Excuse me, and I think it's the right choice. So the software converts from most PCB software to a lot of SMT machine formats. The ICE does have a built-in crystal, a built-in oscillator, sorry, 100%, but it's not overly accurate. Apparently it's plus or minus 10%, I think. Are there, I don't know if there are wagon loads. PCB synergy is what, yeah, I don't know if this, but, okay, I'll have a look. But I've already got a workflow now to do all this stuff, so I don't really need. Yeah, but cool. Thanks, Bruce. Super janky website. That's okay. Not really, Chris. Again, why would you need a fast low drift TXCO for this? Like, you'd want that on a really hardcore dedicated FPGA board, right? Like, if you need that level of dedicated clock signal, then you're doing stuff that isn't for the Blizzard S3, right? The Blizzard S3 is a microcontroller. That's what I was saying before. See, distracted. The purpose of the Blizzard S3 is it's a microcontroller board with an add-on FPGA, because I don't have a use for an FPGA. I am the target market for this, right? I don't have a dedicated use for a dedicated FPGA board only. Like, pretty much all of my projects can happen on a microcontroller. But I want to play with FPGAs, but I don't have a real purpose for one. So a microcontroller that gives me functionality of an FPGA is perfect, right? It dramatically lowers the barrier of entry in terms of getting up to speed on an FPGA and being limited to just the FPGA, right? So for instance, let's say I put DVI out on this, and I plug it into a monitor, and I can get the demos of this running on a monitor. Okay, cool. What do I do with it? Well, I don't know. How am I supposed to do stuff on the FPGA to make it do stuff on the screen? Like, they're all things that I do on a microcontroller. So then I've got to suddenly go get a microcontroller, and I need to then wire the two of them up and get communication working between the two of them, so I can then do something on the microcontroller and have it send it to the FPGA to then send it out to the screen, right? Now that would be a use case that I would do, but why would I buy a dedicated FPGA board to do that? Because that part of the FPGA is like, taxing 1% of the FPGA. So this is where I see the synergy of the two of them together. I get all the functionality that I would want out of a microcontroller with all the features that I do on my S3 boards, and I can access the FPGA to do the things that I can't do on the microcontroller. So it's a very different direction to going FPGA. So if I, Chris, if I needed to capture stacks of I/O really fast and process it and do something, right, to get the data out, like really fast, uninterrupted, or if I needed to control signals going out really fast, if I need like things like DVI output or things like, that's the thing, I don't know, because I don't have a use for an FPGA in what I do. I know what FPGAs can be used for, but I'm not building an oscilloscope that I need an FPGA. I'm not building a whatever. But like, why would I stick a RISC-V softcore on this to program this to do stuff when I'd rather work on an ESP32S3 and have stacks of PS RAM, stacks of flash, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, right? Like, you know what I mean? It's not like I can flash a soft core ESP32 on here and have a radio, right? You have an RTC that is off by 7 seconds a day. That is insane. That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of things you can do on the FPGA side. I get it, but I'm talking about for... So most people that play with microcontrollers, that live in the microcontroller space, that want to tinker with FPGAs, are probably, I'm assuming, are in the same boat as me, where they might buy... Like, I've owned these... I've got like 5 FPGA boards, and I've not found a use for any of them in any of the stuff that I do here. And that's frustrating for me. But I could find a use for functionality on a microcontroller that I can't do that an FPGA can solve. But I need the microcontroller part, because everything else I do is on the microcontroller part. Right? Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Anyway. That'd be a waste of gates for... What? Catch you later, Amory. So I'm just reading back to see if I missed anything. Okay, no, I haven't missed anything. So anyway, I don't know when I'm going to launch it. There's a lot of stuff to do leading up to being able to launch a campaign on it. I mean, they've already given me the thumbs up. They want it. They asked me to apply because they want it on there. They also want my Bling board on there, but I don't know yet if I'm going to launch a campaign for the Bling board or just go into manufacturing the Bling. Yeah, I haven't decided on that yet. Either way, any of these products need the JUKI for manufacturing. So, anything else? Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. I don't know if it's a big market or not, but I'm trying to find the sweet spot where, you know, people are comfortable with microcontrollers, but there are things that they can't do with them that an FPGA can do, but they don't want to go down the whole moving from microcontroller to FPGA, right? That's what I'm hoping for. That's where I'm hoping this will kind of fit. Can this FPGA board be programmed from the Arduino IDE? Yes, it can. You'll be able to code. I mean, it's a full ESP32. Like, you can't program the ICE. Just to be clear, the tool chain for the converting gateway, Verilog, whatever else, to a bit stream for the FPGA has to happen through the normal either open source tool chains like Yosis or whatever else. The sending the bit stream thing, so the bit stream is stored on the S3 side and gets sent to the FPGA all for you, and that can also happen in the Arduino space. If you can, so on our, I should show you this. Let me just, will the menu come across? Hopefully you'll be able to see. So tools, okay, you might be able to see this. So like, here's my, no, if I change this to my tiny S3. Okay, so I've selected my tiny S3 board from the Arduino IDE. Excuse me. Maybe Come on, Arduino IDE, beach ball. Okay, one moment. Wow. Sure, but Chris, I'd say that you're the person that would then use an FPGA board, right? Not a Blizzard. Like again, I'm very clear. The target market on this is not someone that needs a full FPGA implementation. So I'm on the S3. If I go to partition scheme, we've added for our boards. Say Michael and I added TinyUF2 compatibility for the partition scheme. So if I choose this and then I flash the board, I can flash it in Arduino all day long, all my Arduino code, boots, runs all fine, but it keeps the TinyUF2 partition intact. So every time you flash in Arduino, it stays there. At any time you can go back, go into UF2 bootloader mode and put CircuitPython back on or whatever. And because of that, it'll keep. We still have some work to do on this side of it, right? Like the way it keeps the compatibility is it re-puts the when you flash it, it puts the TinyUF2 stuff back on, right? So we just need to make sure it's putting the correct firmware back on because we're using a modified fork of TinyUF2 to do what we're doing. But yeah, it'll just, you boot it up, and if there's bitstream there, it'll send the bitstream to the FPGA, and then it'll run your Arduino code, no problem. And what's really cool with what Michael's done for the implementation on this is you don't need to convert the UF2 file. So you don't have to convert the bitstream to UF2. So the UF2 bootloader generally, you copy a UF2 file format file over. That's the way it works. But Michael has got it working, so you can just drag the .bin file without having to convert it, and it does all its magic. And I'm not going to. Yeah, I don't know what they're doing. I don't want to look. It's loud. I'm not going to share how Michael's doing it yet. Obviously, we'll be releasing stuff open source. But it's pretty magical, and it won't work on any other board really, or any other chip. What he's done, it requires having the 8 mega PS RAM connected to the S3. So you wouldn't be able to take what he's done and do it on an RP2040, for instance, or a SAMD or something else. Yeah. One suggestion, print the board ID on the board so that programmers can use ifdef Blizzard. Print it on the board? Well, you don't have to do that. You can already do that in the Arduino IDE. All of my board, you can do, yeah, like the Tiny S3, Pro S3, Feather S3, Tiny S2, Feather S2, all of them, you can already do that in Arduino. This will be no different. There'll be you'll choose Blizzard S3 from the list, right? When you're doing Arduino and flashing with the Blizzard board. And you won't even have to choose to do the preserved TinyUF2. It'll be the default, right? So yeah, that's all done for you. Okay, wow. So I thought it was going to be a short stream because of the forklift. God, I couldn't remember the name of it. But apparently not. Excuse me. But I do have cold coffee. Yum. Some of us don't use an IDE. Sure. Well, what? When programming a microcontroller, you don't use an IDE? Anyway, I mean, Notepad is an IDE. Really? I mean... Like I think the whole IDE is very much tarnished with what it is these days. So anyway, excuse me. Trying to think if there's anything else. I mean, I hadn't been I hadn't been online for 3 weeks. I haven't been streaming for 3 weeks. So it's weird. Like, I feel like I've just not been sharing anything that I've been doing. Well, yeah. So right now you can't do that, Chris, with this, but Michael reckons he can get that working, so don't worry. Hello, Fire Developer. How much did it cost? A lot. Sorry, I'm not going into how much it cost. Sorry. But a lot. So, yeah. Ah, Yaz is back. Fully recovered, except for the migraines. Fim. An arm and a leg. Yeah, and a kidney. I have a bit bang plenty of stuff with toggles for clocking data. I know you have, Chris. You're full on, deep, low level stuff. I got that. Just got to remember, that's not what the Blizzard is targeted at. So that doesn't mean that you couldn't, but it's not really what it's targeted at. How many Teslas did it cost? I don't know. I haven't bought a Tesla. Showing your age, Chris, I think. Keep forgetting how to yank and paste on. Yeah, why would you need to? I'll occasionally jump into Nano on Linux, but sorry. Three kidneys. It cost 3 kidneys. How about the new firmware for Real Master Pro? Yeah, it's almost ready. I've got a couple more hooks to add for the MQTT publishing, but so yeah, I've got a version 1.03. I should actually call it 1.1 or whatever. Anyway, I've got a new version coming out. It's very, very close. So yeah, soon. Pack of firefighters in Aldi is way cheaper than it. What? Oh, very funny. They don't all catch fire, you know that? What? As my old ma'am said, it costs money in fair words. What does that mean? I've money in fair words. Wagon loads. That's because the people who set those boards up. Well, ESP8266 is a chip. It's not a board. But the people who set those boards up didn't set them up properly. That's all. Hey, Agim, what's JUKI? JUKI is a company that makes sewing machines. I bought a sewing machine. No, not really. It's a pick and place machine. I'm not telling you. Money in fair word. Right, okay. That's cool. Yep, it's money in fair words. Let's just say it's a significant investment. The largest investment I've ever made in my entire business career. Investment on a single piece of equipment, I should say. Right? Yeah. Unexpected sailor. Yeah, I might end up being an unexpected sailor. If all goes to shit, I'll have to go and get a job. Maybe I'll go escape on a boat. No, I don't know. Sorry. It's a new pick and place machine, which is arriving today, sometime. So the good news is that it's fast. So you can, in the software, you can say, hey, optimized my project and now run it. And in software, it can, like on the offline software, it can actually run it based on the exact metrics of the machine and how everything is set up on the machine, right? And it's called a takt time. It's an industry standard way of measurement, and it actually tells me how many components per hour and how long a panel takes. Or I can say, give me a time on 10 panels, and that includes feeding them in and everything, right? And I can tell you that it's my badly optimized product setups, and I say it's badly because I don't know how to optimize properly yet, are showing my production to be between 4 and 5 times faster than the Neoden was at its fastest rate. And the Neoden at its fastest rate also made mistakes, right? So thank you very much, Agim. Yeah, I think your largest investment and my largest investment are very, very different. Johnny? Yeah. Hey, Graham. Can you give us a 2-minute summary of your pick and play machines and why upgraded? Yeah, 100K for a pick and place and feeders is quite cheap. Yeah. So what do you mean by give us a 2-minute summary of your pick and place machines? You mean not all the way through, right? You're talking about the 8? The 8 is it's a fine machine for people that aren't doing volume. It's not a volume machine. It was never designed to do volume. It was only ever designed to do volume pick and placing LEDs, making big LED panels. Like seriously, it's not designed for volume, and it's not reliable. It's not repeatable. It makes mistakes. Catch you later, Max. Have a good sleep. From the original, really? From the, well, the desktop charm high was just a desktop charm high. Like it was, I made it do. Thanks, Pro Engineer. Cover the plastic wrappings. The machine comes in. I don't know. I'm sorry, there's no connection to the logo for that or sound. Yeah. For those that missed it, I installed Python 3.11 and broke everything on my machine. I mean, Charmer was just it's a simple prototyping machine, right? The Neoden S1 never worked, so that really doesn't count. I never used it. I'm not even going to go into the Charm High 560 P4. It was just a piece of garbage. And so that takes us to the N8, right? And the N8, anyway, it's not designed to do volume. It's not reliable and repeatable. It fails with feeding on feeders quite often. It's not 100% reproducible on its pick positions. It struggles with air sometimes, with the Venturi nozzles holding parts. It can't detect if there's a part on the nozzle or not. So if it's dropped apart, it doesn't know, which is a real problem. And it just does some weird things, right? And all pick and place machines do, kind of, no matter how much you spend. But there's no support. So I couldn't get any of those things fixed. So what's interesting is the light things on my machine that died, that like Neoden kept me, that they wouldn't replace them for like one of them for 12 months, one of them for 18 months. And then they finally did when all the shit went down and they finally replaced them. Already one of them is now not working again. Like it's just, so now I get the light and dark photography of the parts. So, you tweak the settings to make sure it can recognize the part properly, and then sometimes it works because the lighting's correct, and then sometimes the lighting's not correct and it can't recognize the part anymore. Or it recognizes it wrong and places it wrong, right? Stuff like that. It's just, so have I made a stack of boards from the machine? Absolutely, right? Did it do its job? It did. but it was the level of mental anguish and pain was very high. The amount of rework I had to do on boards before and after reflow because of just the neodymium just doing weird stuff. And most importantly, it can't detect if it's done something weird. And that's a real problem. So if it's going and it's placing and it's placing and it's placing, and all of a sudden it can't detect that it's either dropped a part or it can't let go of a part, and then it just keeps going, what happens is it starts smashing parts into other parts, right? And then all of a sudden you get a board comes out and half the board is good and the other half of the panel, there's just parts everywhere because it's smashed parts everywhere and it's bouncing parts and it's knocking parts and you don't know that because it can't detect it, which is just stupid, right? So you can go into the settings of the machine and check the air sucking and blowing out of the nozzle and it'll give you a pressure level, right? Yet the software when it's running can't use that. So stuff like that, right? It's when something goes bad, it goes bad, very bad. And on a fully automated line, if the machine can't tell that it's made a mistake and it's screwed up and it just keeps going, then all the boards you get at the end are bad, right? They all have to be fixed or thrown. And I can't do that anymore with, like, it's a terrible experience, right? So is it an okay machine for low volume, for someone that's going to sit there? Like, I can't stand there 8 hours. That thing, because of it's not fast. The maximum speed I ever got out of the machine, maximum at 100% speed of everything, was like 3.5 k per hour, like 3,500 parts per hour. That's it. They claim it's a 16,000 part per hour machine, and it's so not, right? So if it takes me 15 or 16 minutes to build a panel, and I need to build 50 panels, do the maths. I'm standing there just watching the machine, making sure things don't go wrong. Like, what's the point of automating the machine if I've got to stand there and watch every single panel that comes out? And I've got to watch in the machine as it's going all the time, because I can't wait till it comes out to see that it's smashed and smeared a whole panel. I need to know when it's happened. So, like, anyway, that's why I'm moving away from that. And as I said, the next level up is a machine like the JUKI or Hanwha, Samsung, Yamaha, Fuji, whatever, and they all have this level of price point as an entry level, as an entering it thing, and that's what I've had to do. So we need merch just for the first items, an t-shirt showing the evolution of the pick and play. Yeah, I don't know. I guess the price of this kind of equipment increases if we compare it to what it used to cost, say, a year or two ago. So that's a really good question. So, what CAD version are you using? Anymouse? I'm using 7.02. I haven't updated to 7.05. It only came out the other day. How much hair did I lose? I didn't lose any. I'm a bit grayer than I would before. Would you say the neodymium was better or worse? Oh, the neodymium's definitely better than Charm High. And yeah. And the neodymium, look, I used it for this long, and it worked. Like, you know what I mean? I got output out of it, but it was a fight. It was a constant fight. It was a constant. Every day I had to run the line. I would come in the morning and go, I don't know what my pick and place is going to do today. It might work great and give me perfect boards, and it might destroy every board, and I don't know. And that's a really stressful thing. Coming in the morning or going to bed at night knowing the next day you don't know if you're going to have to spend 5 days fixing all the boards that you make or not is really stressful, right? Catch you later, Andy Mouse. So the neodymium machine paid for itself. Sure. For what it produced, yes. But for the mental strain, no. So to answer Agim's question, why didn't I buy one earlier? Several reasons. Totally regret that I didn't, okay? But I didn't feel like I deserved one. I know that sounds weird, right? I felt like I I should suffer through the problems with the Neoden because that's what I had to do, because I didn't deserve / my business didn't deserve / whatever buying a better machine. Like I would bitch and moan about the Neoden, but I'd then just go back in and slog it out. You know what I mean? Like I joke about this all the time, but like my slogan here is work harder, not smarter. Like I used to be a work smarter, not harder person, and I taught myself to be a work harder, not smarter person, because I felt like that was what I deserved, if that makes sense. And I put up with it for as long as I could until it was putting such a mental strain on me that I mean, Yaz would have killed me if I didn't do it. She's been pushing me to do this for ages. And she would have killed me if I didn't do it now. It was becoming unsufferable. Like, I just, yeah. So, that's why I wrote, was it that you wanted to learn them? How? No, I didn't want to learn. Like, I was already, like, I couldn't fix the problems on the Neoden. Like, I was as proficient as I could get on the Neoden. The machine was just completely unreliable. Like, I'd end up replacing a whole bunch of stuff inside it to try to get it working better, whatever. Like, it was, I needed the tool. I didn't need the challenge of fixing it. But it just came to, like, I've always felt like I felt like an imposter in the games industry. You know, I made plenty of titles that didn't make any money, but I did quite well in the games industry. I had some, breakout titles, did very well, and never felt like I deserved it or earned it. And it's the same here. Like, I never intended to build a electronics manufacturing company. That was never on my radar, ever. Like, what was on my radar was, I wonder if I can make a few projects and sell enough of them to kind of, support my family. Like, whatever that meant, it didn't mean full-on production line in a factory. That was never on my radar, right? So this whole time, it's not that I've been treating it as a hobby, right? But I've been treating it like I don't deserve to be doing this any more professionally than the bare minimum, because that's all I deserve to be doing. It's yeah. I know I'm not the only one that goes through this whole imposter syndrome stuff, and it's in many different environments and many different industries. But I've suffered with this my whole life. In all the things that I've done, this is no different. But in this case, because it's all physical, when you're making games, it's all electronic. Like, sure, I still work crazy hours or whatever, but you're sitting in front of a computer, you're coding, you're doing whatever else, you're doing digital marketing, you're doing digital this, digital that. But with this, it's all physical. Like, it's, sure, design of boards in front of the computer, whatever, but the manufacturing of, and the cleaning of the boards, and the packing of the boards, and the shipping the boards, and whatever, it's all a physical task. And so any part of that is deficient is a strain, like, it's a physical and mental strain. And I allowed myself to put up with stuff that I shouldn't have put up with for way longer than I did, because I felt like I wasn't deserving of doing anything better than this. But that said, this investment is insane. Like, I'll admit it. It's the third time I'm going to say it now. Like, this could be the smartest thing I've ever done in terms of my mental health and everything else, or it could be the worst thing I've ever done in terms of a business decision. I don't know. Definitely the worst time in economic climate to be doing this. By far the worst time. So, fingers crossed. Everyone cross your fingers. What have I missed? Lots of talking. I can't talk and read at the same time. Yeah, I got some experience Chris, but I've taught myself to, yeah, taught myself that I make some bad business decisions sometimes because I'm capable of putting up with it, and that's a wrong thing to do. Like, just because I can do it, just because I'm able to deal with this shit machine for 2.5 years, doesn't mean I should. Hey, Quixotic. I have a good wife. I have an amazing wife. Thanks, Jerry. So lots of weird things it does, even with Fido, tape popping.
Sorry, I can't turn on repeat.
Like the last production run I did, it's running away, it's running, and all of a sudden, yeah, I hear pop, and one of the feeders, the cover tape just snaps, right? And it doesn't snap in the middle, it snaps where it pulls the cover tape. So at the teeth that pulls it through, don't know what it did, it just snapped it, right? And then I'm going, and then snap, like 5 of them within about 10 minutes, it just snapped the parts, and of course it couldn't pick them anymore. It does just some weird, the machine just does weird stuff. And anyway, how can we help Xeon buy more products? Yes, that's how you help Xeon by either buying more products from Xeon or buying from Xeon's resellers. I'm just as happy with that. That's how you help Xeon. Thanks. There's a lot of products you need to buy though to help Xeon at this point in time. Let me tell you. Sorry, the Python connection's not working. Quixotic Geek. Imagine if JUKI would have been your first machine, you would know all the. Oh yeah, well I never could have justified something like this JUKI as my first machine. I didn't have a business for that yet, right? And who knows if I've got a business to justify this one. We'll see. Self-update is hijacking my internet connection. Nope. Thanks, Alan. Imposter syndrome is a real thing. Another feeling. Well, it's hard to come to terms with. Try to remind yourself it's something everyone has. Just. Yeah, I know, but it's. I know plenty of people that have got it. I've had many discussions with people, especially in the games industry, over decades, whatever. But doesn't make it easy to deal with. Let me tell you. If you're not suffering imposter syndrome, you're probably a psychopath. I could be a psychopath as well. I don't know. I did some. Oh, hello, Art Danyon. I actually designed some merch. I got the t-shirts already. They're not great t-shirts, and they're supposed to be pre-shrunk, but they shrunk when I washed them. The first thing I do when I get like t-shirts, merch like that, is I wash them straight away, and they shrunk, and I'm really annoyed because I had some unexpected maker t-shirts I designed. I have to find a different company to make them. We'll see. Yes, Xeon bought a new JUKI pick and place machine that's coming today. Today, yay! I personally think your products, when received, appear to be better quality and standard than bigger players. I hope so. I don't know about them being better quality or standard. I'm not going to comment on that, but I have my own standards, right? The thing you could have ever done was marrying yours. She's always with you and backing you. Thank you. Thanks, Agim. How good did it feel to pull it off the line? It actually felt really cool. Actually, it didn't, because I pulled it off the line and then I had to lift it all the way up and fix the feet. Because of the way they designed. Anyway, I was covered with grease everywhere. And I must have wiped my face at some stage. I had grease across my face. It was bad. I looked like I was in the Vietnam War with fucking, excuse my language, whoops. You know, where I kind of camouflaged myself in the bush. Anyway, how's the sensor printer going? Oh, sorry. The G5, it's good. Look, you can get better features, specs, and reliability on newer machines, right? But this is working great. Like I'm very happy with it. But it's if I had a spare $80,000, which I don't, you know, I would at some stage I'll probably upgrade this to something newer that has Like this one suffers from recognition stuff sometimes. It's the camera that looks at the stencil side at the half-etched fiducials. It's not a great camera, and it 99% of the time it picks the fiducial position correctly, and sometimes it gets it slightly wrong and whatever. But overall, way better than manual stenciling. So, and for what it cost, for a second-hand machine, yeah, I'm very glad I did that. Very glad I did it. But the near end wasn't fast enough to keep up, right? So, like, if you consider that the stencil printer can paste, I don't know, a board every minute, maybe faster, and the pick and place was taking 16 minutes to make a panel, it's a bit of a problem. So, yeah. Just an idea, can't you put on your website for the product what the main of the connectors? Huh? Alan, sorry, can you say it again? Oh, name. The name of the connectors. For which product? What are we talking about? Alan, sorry? Someone said to me, pick and place makes money while it runs. If you manage to have enough boards to feed it, you'll be fine. Oh, absolutely. And right now I don't have, so that's what I'm saying. Like, could be the worst decision ever. Right now I don't have enough production requirement for the machine. Like, it's the best time for it to be installed because I'm pretty quiet right now. Like, and when I say pretty quiet, I mean like flatline. So it's the best time to bring one in because I'm not interrupting production to get it in. But I'm also, just invested in this machine and putting in the line, and I don't have anything to run on it. Well, I do. I've got new products that I haven't made yet that I was waiting on the JUKI. But you know what I mean? Like, it's because for me it goes in waves. Anyway, it'll be interesting to see what happens. What's specific about the JUKI? It's a real pick and place machine. As in, it's not a Chinese pick and place machine. It's not made with lowest price parts, sourced from China, manufactured in China with Chinese software that doesn't talk to it, with Chinese support. It's a proper real pick and place machine. So that sounds, yeah. Catch you later, Cable Tie. Thanks, mate. Have fun at work. P&P Warrior. What? Can you put your optical inspection robot right after pick and place so you can catch placement errors before it does 10 in a row? I don't need to because the pick and place can check itself. How cool is that? Yeah, like I don't need an optical inspection technically after it because I can have the machine check what it's done, and it can also detect if there's a part on the nozzle, if it's put the part down. You can inspect the part. It can do all sorts of, like, it's what a proper production machine can do, right? Catch you later, Fognology. Have a good sleep. What type of connections used in your products? What do you mean by connectors? I don't understand. All of your products, what type of connectors there is used? Talking about header pins? Like, I don't... Which connectors? Sorry. I don't want to P&Play myself is doing batches for some faster versus doing it by hand. Right, yeah, a desktop machine for you is perfect, Austin. The problem for me is that there are some times when my line's not being used at all, right? That's fine. Like, I don't need my line to be running 24/7. I don't. And I don't want to be running my line 24/7 because it's just me. But there are times when I might only run, I might need to just build 100 boards or 200 boards, or like 10 panels, right? Well, the need-in would take me all day, like a 9-hour day to build 10 panels. Like crazy. Shouldn't. Where the JUKI will take me less than an hour to build 10 panels, right? But there are times also where I need to build 2,000 boards or 3,000 boards. And, that's like, 10 solid days of fighting the Neoden is just, kills me, right? So it's not about me keeping the machine running 24/7. It's about being able to do a small run quickly, but a large run in a reasonable period of time. That's the thing for me. Yeah, I showed it earlier. Do I still have it? Where's the page gone? Well, this is the Japanese website, but yeah, this is the machine. You can put us after the reflow and check the joint quality. Well, sure, except at that point in time, it's too late, right? I check them anyway when I pull them off the restacker. Like the pros through what type of the battery connector, stemmer QT, and so on. Yeah, okay. I mean, I can, but I'm pretty sure I have. Don't I have that? Yeah, battery is a Pico blade connector, and here stemmer QT connector. Like, what else do you need to? And then I'm like on the Feather S3. Yeah, stemmer QT connector, stemmer QT connector. Okay, I don't put one for the JST connector. I could put one for the JST connector, but I'm probably, don't know, I'll list that somewhere. Well, but they're all standard. Like the stemmer QT is an SH. Like that's a. Sure. Okay. Yeah, I can do that. But there aren't different types. That's what I'm saying. So they're like a stemmer connector is an SH 1.0 always, and this JC is always a pH 2 millimeter. But yep. Okay, I can do that. If I wanted to buy one for my living room, how many of my euros would it take? What's that saying? It's a fair amount of words. No. I'm going to go back and find what that saying was. Yeah, I'm not saying how much it was. Sorry. Yeah, no problem, Alan. Yep, I can do that. All good. Money in fair words. Thanks, John. Yeah, it's money in fair words. POA, yeah. Let's just say it was enough money to make this a very risky decision. So let's catch up in a year and see how that played out, shall we? Excuse me. The Neoden's been sold. It is middle of June. It's going to be travelling up north to Brisbane. No, it does not take the same feeders. If it took the same feeders, I wouldn't buy the JUKI. Because I don't want these feeders. I don't want the Neoden feeders. I want real feeders. These feeders are smart feeders. Yeah, no, it's this is everything about it is new. Brand new machine, brand new feeders, brand new, everything about it. Unfortunately, the feeders are horrifically expensive, which is the only downside. And like you're stuck. Like I'm stuck now. There's only one type of feeder it takes, and that's the. Well, no, they've actually got more expensive feeders than these ones that have more functionality, but I don't need that. Can't remember what I bought. I think I bought like 64 8mm feeders, and I mean it holds 100 and I think 120 100 or 112 feeders it holds, 8mm feeders. The good news is a 16mm feeder only takes 2 slots, where on the Neoden a 16mm feeder takes 2.5 slots, so you lose 3 slots for a 16mm, where I only lose 2 for a 16 or 12 on this one, which is great. Yeah, I've got about 100 feeders coming, approximately. And they're expensive, like that. I mean, they're no more expensive than other feeders at this level. They're fully electric, right? You can't get mechanical feeders for the RS1R. Japan. It's designed, made, assembled in Japan. It's a JUKI. JUKI's a Japanese company. So I keep looking at my watch. It's only 8:30. I have no expectation the machine's going to get here before 12. I got more work to do downstairs. I got to somehow move my oven. I can wait till the guys turn up to help me. The oven's kind of hard to move. You can't get the pallet jack under the oven. They didn't leave enough room when it's on its wheels to do that, or on the feet. So, which is frustrating. So I need to like lever it up with some wood, but then if I do that, I can't get the pallet jack under. Like I don't need more than 2 hands. I need 2 bodies to be in 2 different places. Are there any European manufacturers? There are, but they're also I don't have tracking details. It's not being delivered by courier. Being delivered by in a container, like the container's coming. Yeah, there are. Like, there's quite a few companies that in Europe that make them, like Europlacer, but they're way too expensive. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of machines in the proper commercial space once you move out of the Chinese space. They're all just really expensive. That's funny. You say JUKI bought Sony. You mean JUKI bought the Sony pick and place business? They didn't buy Sony. That'd be huge if JUKI bought Sony. Like, but yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, the pick and place head on this is so it uses laser vision on the pick and place head, which it can do pretty much all parts other than things like BGAs or whatever. Just on that, including like long connectors and stuff. It does full 3D measurement of the parts on the laser, and it can real time move the laser head around for tall parts and short parts, and so everything's on the fly. But I've also got the vision camera for anything that I need to do a really full on detection for, and then you can detect whatever you want. Like I can go and program in. I can say that this is a module I want to detect with the up camera, and these are the very specific things I want to detect for, and you can actually build that detection shape in the software and say this is what I want you to match and whatever. It's incredible. It's really, really good. Will you do a standalone? Yeah, I will. I will record some. I've already recorded some video about decommissioning the 8 and 8. I'll record some video about it coming, and then I'll do plenty of videos of it going forward, kind of like I did with the Neoden. Are you concerned your JUKI could become sentient? Nah, it's running Windows. Like, there's no chance. Sorry. I'm not a Windows fan, I gotta say. Windows NT, I liked. That was about the last version of Windows that I liked. No, I don't think it's that powerful enough to come... I don't want it to. Unless it can program itself, that'd be great. Because it's time consuming to program. It's much more time consuming to program than the Neoden was, but it can do a million more things than the Neoden, right? So you got like way finer control about everything on the machine. So yeah, but the downside to that is it's much more complex to set things up, more complex and time consuming. But once everything's in that database, then any work I've done gets leveraged across any new work I do, if that makes sense. I remember buying stuff like this at work. You had to sign NDAs about what you pay. Oh, really? I didn't have to. No, I mean I can talk about it. I'm not going to talk about it. It's a pointless conversation. It was a lot. It was yeah. It was complex to organise to do this. So I'm really hoping that I got full confidence the machine's going to be great and it's going to do exactly what I need. And it's going to be reliable and fast. And it's going to now give me capabilities that I couldn't do before. Like I can now actually do proper double-sided boards. Proper meaning there's full support underneath the double-sided boards. And I can do smaller size components easily than what I was doing before. So it's just about whether I'm going to have enough business coming in the door to justify the machine that's sitting there now, what I spent on the machine. And I don't have a Tesla. No, I'd love one, but I can't afford one, and I can't. So here we go. I don't deserve one. No, I don't. I can't justify it. I'd love to get battery only car. And if I ever do that, it probably won't be a Tesla because you can get much cheaper battery cars. I'd be doing it for the environment, not for the luxury aspect. Sorry, I'll find work for it if I have to. Sure. So it's good timing because I'm about to start design on a client job that's using BGAs. Unfortunately, never would have done one on the Neoden because it's just not possible. I mean, when I say not possible, I'm sure there are people doing them, but it does not have the capability to do it. Like the vision system is not designed for BGAs. Like whether it has worked or not is beside the point. You can't do it. Just like you can't do 0201, even though there are people who are doing it, maybe not. It can't even reliably do 0402. Anyway, I paid for VCS as an add-on. Yeah, it by default it's just got the laser alignment. Which honestly, unless it's a complex BGA that you want to do ball inspection on the BGA while it's like you can actually check the component and make sure the component's good before it places it. So like I'll occasionally pick up an IC, a SOT 23 or even one of my PSRAM or flash chips. I'll pick it up and place it, and there'll be a bent pin, right? And the Neoden doesn't know, and it just places it, right? And then it like. There's one thing to rework a board, but like a chip with a bent pin, that's it. It's over, right? It's got to come off. Excuse me. The JUKI can detect that. It can go, yep, this doesn't look right. We're going to throw that part and get another one. Anyway. This means that the Reflow Master and Laura boards I ordered weren't enough to pay for the new machine outright. Yeah, no. No. You know what? It wasn't even enough to pay for 1/10 of one feeder. No, not even 1/50th of one feeder. No. But thank you though. I do appreciate the business, Quixotic Geek. Yeah. You can get much better electric cars than a Tesla. I don't know. I'm not into that space. I wish I was, but I'm not. They've got, I don't know, well, it's called the component database now. I don't know. I don't know what database they're running behind the scenes. I think it's just an MDB, so is it just an access database? I don't know. Hey, Color Maker. Yes, I can. I can detect anomalies on pins on the ESP32 modules with it, I believe. It's the parts in the documentation that covers all this stuff is like, honestly, it's like 100 pages. Like, my only complaint with them is they have too much information in their manuals. Like, oh my god, like they step through every single thing and spell out every single thing. They go through every single menu option and every single menu and every single thing. Like, it's over the top. Like, I know. He's like, Neoden, no manual, no help. JUKI, too much information. How much is a feeder roughly? Thousands. Roughly. Expensive. Feeders are very expensive. So, yeah. Eventually you're going to need it. Oh, the detail is insane, but it's intimidating. Like it's just full on. Like the amount of documentation. So the documentation on doing all the setting up, you know, like there's a library of stuff. Like you can say, oh, this is a whatever BGA, like an F BGA, and there's already a layout for that. But if you want to do custom stuff, if you wanted to inspect particular balls, or if you wanted whatever, you can do all that. And there's like 150 pages of just how to set all that up. Like it's really full on. I was just guessing, Quixotic Geek. I don't know. Like I can't remember exactly how much an 8mm feeder is. Let me just. Oh, actually, no. Sorry, I lied. About $1,000 for an 8mm feeder. Oh no. Maybe. It's hard to say. No, they're not dual lane 8mm. Single lane. You can get dual lane 8mm feeders. They're way more expensive. But you basically double the capacity of, like, you can put 2 8mm parts per feeder, so you can double the capacity of feeders. Maybe that's why they had 112 times 2. You can do, but I'm not getting dual lane ones, and I'm not getting the splicing option. They've got a version of their feeder, like a splice option, where you can literally, so the feeder knows how many parts, or the software knows how many parts are on it, and it's counting parts as it's feeding. And when you're running low on parts, it'll start flashing and it'll let you know that you're running low, because you can walk up and, like, they've got an auto splicing feeder that you just walk up with your new reel, and because the reel doesn't sit on the feeder, it sits down below. So you can literally just get the tape out of the new reel, walk up and just push it in to the feeder, and it splices it on the fly. Oh, was that a note? Okay, I didn't, whatever. If you can do 201 and double-sided, does that mean a nano pico? What do you mean a nano pico? What's a nano? I've already got the tiny pico nano. And I've already got this is my nano S3. Like, I've already got, oh, bit blurry. Anyway. So the problem with the feeders is they go up in price quite a lot. Like a 44mm feeder is like $5,000. So, yeah. Anyway, hey Dutch Maker, what post placement verification does one have apart from the vacuum sensing part? You can inspect. You can have it go through and inspect every single part it placed if you want to. So what's interesting? There's a lot of functionality that you don't get for free that you can pay for. It's like in-app purchase. it's awesome. Not really. But there's functionality that can do all sorts of stuff, right? It's just a matter of what you need, what you don't need. A smaller Tiny Pico Nano. Why would I want to do a smaller Tiny Pico Nano? A Tiny Pico Nano won't work double-sided because it's got to be on the board. It's got to be like soldered, castellated edges, so it can't be double-sided. Could I fit more in? Well, sure, I could go smaller parts, but it won't let me put more components, so it doesn't really matter. Hey Paul, $5,000 for a feeder. Good God. Yeah. That's a 44mm one. But yeah. Excuse me. So yeah, it can inspect the board, it can inspect the parts that have been placed, verify that it can do, I don't think I've got the polarity inspection option. I mean, I can buy it. But it could, for instance, do things like when it picks up the part, it can check that the part is the right polarity before it places it. and then when it places it after, it can check that it placed it with the correct polarity, right? Stuff like that. I mean, that's awesome. I don't need functionality like that. If I program it right, if it comes in the pocket right, it'll place it right. Yeah, it can tell if part's moving, if it's rotating. It's checking it the whole time. So, like with the neodyne, it picks up a part, puts it on the camera, and then whatever happens to the part as it moves over to the board, bad luck, right? Whether it drops it, if it spins on the nozzle, if whatever, bad luck. This thing is correcting the whole way through, so it shouldn't. Yeah. So for the what is it? For the about, that would be incorrect. Sorry, say that again, JUKI. Not really necessary. For the about. Okay. G works with you. It sounds like a hell of a machine. Thanks, Paul. Yeah. Hey, Tony. Well, what's interesting is if it works like it's supposed to, it should just do what I've always wanted. It's not going to do something that I haven't ever wanted to do. I mean, other than maybe smaller parts. It's not like it's going to build my boards and at the same time it's going to, I don't know, make me lunch. Like, you know what I mean? It should, if it does what it's supposed to do, I should just be able to get reliable boards out of it. That's all I want is reliable boards. Amount, not really necessary for the amount. Oh, right. Yeah. Well, I don't want any boards, I don't want any parts to be placed incorrectly, right? It shouldn't. I shouldn't get any parts placed incorrectly with this machine. But whatever, like, things happen. So we'll see. But obviously the downside to inspecting all the parts when it's placing them is it's much slower to manufacture. Still faster than the neodyne, but slow. Excuse me. But again, I don't know if I've got that that feature. It can do stuff like it can pick and place labels and put them on the panels and scan them, right? So we can track everything about it. So it can track, because it's got RF on the feeders and RF on the nozzles, and so if you do that, it can automatically pick up a QR code. It can pick up off a label with a pickup placement head, put it on the board, scan it, and then manufacture the board, and then you can get a report out of it. I haven't paid for this feature because I don't need it, right? But you can get a report out of it that says, like, this board, if you scan the board, it'll tell you every part from every manufacturer, from every reel, from every feeder, and what nozzle it was placed with. You've got full accountability all the way back, right? I mean, that requires you to have all the back-end database stuff set up with, excuse me, with here's a reel of 0402 100k resistors. This is the manufacturer it's from. This was the purchase date. This was the supplier it came from. Blah 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 blah. But it can give you full everything about the board, which is great. I don't need that. It can also talk. Labels is a must for it. Sure, but I don't need that. How long will it take to commission? They say 2 days and then 3 days for training, but I think it'll be less. Probably never assume machine has done its job. I can't fit an SPI in. That's for paste inspection, and I can't fit an automatic optical inspection machine in my line either. Which is why I was trying to design one that fit on a conveyor. Like, that's never going to happen. I don't have the length to do it. So, like, one thing the JUKI can do is if I get either a JUKI stencil printer, right, or it'll do it with the newer GKGs, like the Titan, for instance. They can talk, right, and so the JUKI can inspect the solder paste when it comes out. So I don't need an SPI, and if the solder paste is slightly out, it can tell the Titan how to adjust itself to fix it. So then the next board that comes through from the Titan, the solder paste, is correct. I mean, so firstly, don't need an SPI for that, except maybe the first one that comes out. Well, it doesn't matter. You put an SPI, solder paste inspection machine, after the stencil printer, and if the paste isn't good, it's already too late. You got to decide you're going to discard it or redo it or let it go through, right? But the JUKI can do that anyway, and talk to the stencil printer and tell the stencil printer to fix itself. If I pay for that add-on, and if I buy a $180,000 stencil printer, so you know it's like, oh yeah, it's just a money pit. It's a money pit. New inside something similar to SPI, not fully featured. Mine has that. I can do inspection on mine, but the inspection's not great and it's slow. I mean, I don't have to inspect every pad. I could tell it to inspect only some pads on the corners, or if I've got a problematic type part, like some of the parts I use, I've got very small apertures. I can inspect those, but the inspection capability on it, again, it's not fast, and the cameras, although these have got digital cameras, they're pretty old spec cameras. I mean, it's an old machine. It's 2017 maybe. I mean, the cameras that they use, inspection cameras they use these days, are way better than what they were back then. But mine can do that. Catch you later, Art Daniel. If it fails the board, how does it? What do you mean? Fails the board at what point? Define fail. Which part? The pick and place. Push it out. Well, no, but it'll stop. It'll be like an error, and you can set whatever the thresholds are for whatever to stop, and or it'll pause. You can tell it to stop, but then it stops that whole run. But you can tell it to only pause. It'll pause, and then it'll tell you what it thinks is wrong, and you can inspect it and have a look. And you can either continue on, forget that part, and continue on, or you can pull it off, repaste it, replaced it. Oh, the solder. Well, once the solder paste inspection is done, yeah, it can send it backwards, assuming that there's nothing waiting there already. It can send it backwards, or it'll pause. I don't know. I can't do that anyway because my printer can't talk to the JUKI. Like, yeah. Excuse me. Good printer with built-in SPI. Good call. Yeah, the Yamaha is really nice. The YSP is a really nice machine. I've looked at that before. It's just too expensive. But I'd probably be looking at, like, if I was going to get another stencil printer, I'd probably look at the either the G-Star or the Titan, the GKG Titan maybe. Super sell them, and I've already said to them if they ever get someone that's replacing their G-Star or a Titan, so one that's second hand, let me know. I might consider it. Solder paste is the most important part. Like, if your paste is bad, doesn't matter how good your pick and place machine is. So yeah. And the biggest problem with solder paste, with automatic solder paste, is just the consistency of paste. Tony, just to let you know, sorry, I thought someone else would jump in with that. I'm not saying how much it cost, so I'm not talking money about it, but a big number. It's the solder paste and the ability to knead the paste well before it applies it. So I don't have issues on my machine applying the paste perfectly if the paste is at exactly the right or close to the right viscosity. The issue is on a cold day, like the other morning I came in, it was like 4 degrees in here. Like I couldn't run the line straight away. I've got a solder paste mixing machine, helps a little bit. Had to put the heater on downstairs for a bit to just warm it up to try to get it to almost double figures. It was still, I think I got to 11 degrees. Like it took like an hour and a half. Anyway, by the time I got the paste on the machine, the first couple of paste applications, it didn't paste properly because the paste was still a bit thick. But after a while, or what happens is it sticks to the squeegees and doesn't fall off. So it goes one direction, paste, and the paste is good, and then it's stuck on the squeegee. So then it goes the other way, and there's no paste on the stencil because it's still stuck to the squeegee. It hasn't fallen off because it's too cold. So stuff like that's a pain. The newer machines have the ability to adjust the temperature inside the machine to make sure that the paste is sitting at a good temperature level while it's exposed. Mine doesn't do that, but yeah. No, it's a new machine. I bought it brand new from the factory. More than a beer, less than a brewery. It depends on the brewery. More than a microbrewery. You should really be keeping a line at a constant temperature. Well, sure, but that's always been a problem, and I can't do anything about that. I'm in a factory, an open factory. You know, generally I'm fine. Like I won't run the line if the consistency isn't right. You know, it's just that sometimes that really hinders me. You know, I'm waiting hours to get the line going because I'll take the paste out the night before, but it's so cold overnight that it's like it's in the fridge anyway. And you can't artificially heat the paste. You need a tent. Yeah, I need a gazebo. What I need is a completely different environment, but this is my environment. This is what I've got. And yeah, and I know straight away, like I don't run the line if there's a problem with the paste. So in a situation like the other day where it sticks to the squeegee, before I run the next board, I scrape it off. And you got to remember, I've not been automating the front of my line because the needle end's too slow. So, like, I've not even turned on the PCB feeder that has a stack of PCBs that sends them through to the stencil printer. That's never been used because the needle end's too slow. Like, what it does is it sits there and it feeds 3 boards and it stencils 3 boards up, and they sit on the line, and like the third one that's sitting there, it sits there for like an hour before it goes into the machine because the needle end's so slow. So that's just crazy. Like, you don't do that to paste. Don't let it sit there for an hour. Regardless of the discard time, you just don't do it. So I've been manually stencil printing one at a time, like feeding into the stencil printer because of the need and speed. That's all changing now with the JUKI. So, excuse me. Hack the printer and add a heater inside. I can add a heater inside, but it's got to be temperature control. Anyway, whatever. I might know someone with a spare tent. Yes. His tent's not big enough. But yeah. A tiny Pico has... Ooh, I don't know these days. Oh, actually, I can... Just 1 second. Okay. So this is my PC. So this is the Janet software. I can't make it bigger. I'm sorry. It's using VNC. Oh, by the way, I did install what was that RDP client? And so the problem is the security key doesn't work if I RDP to the machine, which is why I'm using VNC now. Yeah, but I'm not putting vinyl curtains all the way around in a secondary ceiling. So, but yeah, it's not happening from a financial and from a I won't do it point of view. So that's okay. I know my line. I know my process window temperature requirements. I don't have quality control issues on my products. I know when I can pick and place and when I can't pick and place, and I know what I need to do to be able to pick and place if it's either super cold or super warm. I'm fine. Like you remember, I ran this out of my garage for like a year and a half, 2 years. Like yeah. Anyway, so what I was gonna look at, actually that is okay. So I've got my Tiny Pico loaded. So component database. So there are 25 unique. Oh, that's 25 unique components on there. Placement data. There is 40 components on a Tiny Pico. And so like I can, where's the, that's interesting. Where's it gone? Why isn't it letting me drag it up? View. Weird. I don't know where it went away. Anyway, so it shows me in the software. It actually shows me my panel. Shows me where my fiducials are set up. It shows me where the boards are, entry point, and every part. So if I click on the D4, you can see the D4 here. I can zoom in. There's a few tweaks. There's a lot of assumptions I've made, and there are a lot of things that I know I'm going to have to change. Like, I've not actually set up where the pins are. That's like the PS RAM. Or on the here, I can do that, but I'm not using the vision on that, so I don't need to. The USB, I don't know. I don't understand the orientation of the USB connector. Excuse me. Because when you go and actually edit the info for it, and you tell it the component type, it's an other because there is no USB connector, right? Catch that array. Oh, you got a lathe coming. What lathe did you get? Awesome, nice. No, it builds this based on the component data coming in. So that's the thing, you need to go and set up every component. So if I here, so this is an 0402 2K resistor, right? So I got to say it's a chip. It comes on tape. I got to put the dimensions in. I haven't set up any of the pick depth bias or whatever else. Tell it to use a laser for size. Tell it comes on 8mm paper, or it can be 8mm plastic, like the embossed. What the pitch is. Splice, if possible. Mine doesn't have splicing. Then I can set up what the default orientation is of it. And yeah, and then it knows from that. So you can see if I click on that 2K one, then there's two of them on here. Well, actually three of them, are they? Oh, that's interesting. Okay, I'll have to update that. Anyway. This is the offline stuff. The software's a bit different on the machine, and all this can be done on the machine, but it's much easier to sit at my desk and do it. So I've set up a whole bunch of boards. I've got my, the first thing I'm going to run on the machine is my Nano S3. Ah, okay, cool. Well, have fun. Can you click on the I can, but again, I've not set the LDR up properly because there is no. Well, this is on the Nano S3. So that's the LDO there. Again, it's the same thing. Like it's there's no option for a DFN in there. Not on this. Maybe there is on the machine. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not going to get 47,000 components per hour. That's its theoretical limit. I'll read ADP. Have you tried ADP into the admin console rather than normal? I've not, Rob, but it could be the way I installed the security key stuff when I installed it. Oop. Hi. Yeah, still streaming. Yaz is here. There aren't many people left, but hi. No, not yet. Well, I'm waiting, so I have to go down and keep rearranging. So, you want to say hi? Okay. Still hanging out while doing revisions. Cool. Anyway, I'll reinstall all the keys. These aren't my actual security keys. Mine are coming today. So, right, that's what I'm saying. 47,000 is the maximum, but it's not what it can realistically do is... Where's that page gone? Wait. Oh. So it shows you here. So the optimum is that, but what it can actually do based on this IPC spec is 31,000, right? So 47,000 is where it's doing one part from one feeder position back and forward, which is how the neodymium gets 16,000, right? But that doesn't include moving the pick and place head around.
I forgot. I thought you were on a call.
It was just, I was walking past. Lucky you weren't naked. That would have been bad. Anyway.
Oh.
But what this can actually sustain 31,000. So the way that specification is, they have a standard that says it's going to travel this distance and this many picks and this many blah, 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 blah. It can do 31. So it's 31 compared to 3,500 on the neodymium. So it's almost 10 times faster, but I'm not going to get 10 times faster. Right, but I can actually show you how fast it's going to be. So if I go into optimize, I can tell it to optimize this board. I'm just going to use the default settings, so I'm not tweaking anything, right? And click go. And it's currently running the job virtually, but on the exact specification of my machine, where all the nozzles are, where all the feeders are, where all the parts are, everything to do with it, right? And so it's done that, and now if I save that, I can do a takt simulation, and this will actually now tell me how fast it can do it. So that optimization, sorry, that wasn't running the job. This is going to run the job. Optimization was getting it already. So I'm going to say I want to do 10 panels of Nano S3. So there's 20 Nano S3s per board, using the optimization data, and measure it. And it just ran it, and so there's 700 parts per panel, and it's 2 minutes 55 per panel, with a total time of 29 minutes for 10 panels, and that's including feeding the boards in and out. Yeah, if you include the screw-ups that it's not going to do, it's going to be 50 times or 100 times faster. So I can tell you now that a panel, these nano, or my tiny Pico nanos on the neodymium, which has less parts, takes 13 minutes per panel. So it's going to go from 13 minutes, that's not including feeding in and out or anything else, or mistakes. That's not including misfeeds or mispicks or anything, that's on top of. So it's gone from 13 and a half minutes down to 3 minutes. So
10.
Sorry?
Did you round it up? 10. You went 13 to 3. Sorry. Doing
Anyway,
maths.
so that's when if you look at the optimization screen, right? I don't even understand. I've read the documentation twice for optimization screen, and I don't understand it. Right? So like, look at all the stuff that you can do. I mean, a lot of stuff you can't actually see until you dig into it. Anyway, it's just got all these different things for optimization. I just left it as whatever the default is and click go. The other cool thing that this can do is I can say, is it in here? Maybe not in here. So right now it's set to do only ever create one feeder position per part. So there'll be one feeder with one reel of 1 microfarad caps, one feeder with one reel of 0.1 microfarad caps, etc. Right? But I can look at some of these parts, right, and it tells me how many placements there are. So like, I'm placing 5 0.1 microfarad caps and 5 1 microfarad caps for 100k resistors, right? I can actually tell the software to say, when you optimize it, give me 2 feeder positions for 0.1 and 2 feeder positions for 1, Or I could even say, give me 5 feeder positions for 0.1 microfarad caps, right? So it'll be 5 feeders, 5 reels. And then it can go, and in one pick, go bang, and do all of the 0.1 microfarad caps, right? I can optimize it however I want. And right now, I'm going to have lots of empty feeder positions to start with until I eventually, you know, like I've got room to grow on this. So I could, if I want faster, like right now, that's 5 picks for that, 5 picks for that, and 4 for that, right? 14 picks. I could turn all of this, if I wanted, if I got enough reels, into 1 pick. 1 pick for that, 1 pick for that, 1 pick for that. So if you consider 20 boards, 5 placements, that's 100 parts just of those. Anyway, you see what I mean? I can make this very fast if I want to. Anyway, okay, I think 2.5 hours in, I think it's time to wrap up. I have to keep working downstairs. Sorry. How many pick heads? There's 8 pick heads. There is 50 nozzle positions, and it's auto nozzle changer. Yes, I need to get a new warm coffee. I do. And it can optimize the nozzles as well. And it can do that itself. Like it can, before it starts the job, it can go, oh, I need to move all these nozzles around to get them in the optimal position for changing. And then you can tell it to optimize to say, I want you to optimize to change nozzles less, or I want you to optimize to change nozzles more, stuff like that. And you can also do boards in layers. I can say, I want all my 0402 components to be in layer 1, and then all my chips or whatever to be in layer 2, and whatever else. So you can tell it to go, place the small parts first, or place the large parts first, or place them in order that it's in the pick file, or place it in order of optimization, or I want you to do all the layer 1 stuff across the whole panel in one hit, and then 1 board at a time do all the big stuff. Like you get full control over everything you do. Does Yaz know she's about to help move an oven? No, she's not going to help me move the oven.
Not that, that's the oven.
Yeah, no, that was Rob asking. You're not going to move it? No.
Not that big oven.
No, yeah.
But the little one I've moved.
Yeah, no, we're not moving any oven. I'm not going to ask you to move any oven. It's all good. Freaked her out. Yeah, I'll take some video of the install process. Anyway, okay. Bye, everyone. Happy JUKI Day. Yeah. I'm hoping I'll be up and running before 5 days. We'll see. Thanks for joining, and I'll catch you all next week. Bye. Oh, where's the ending? There it is. Okay, bye.